I remember dispatch putting out a call that there was a male standing in his apartment holding a gun. And upon arrival, made contact, and at this point now the gun was pointed directly at his temple. Before we could say anything, he looked at me, smiled, bang. Body falls to the floor. And you know, for a lot of people, they're never going to experience anything like that in life. But for me, it wasn't the first, and it definitely wasn't the last. And my first thought was, man, I wish that was me. All the stress, all the worry, all the problems in life, it would all be over. These thoughts kept reoccurring almost daily. Is this the easiest way?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SO Show. Bring the band in.
Shots fired 147 Maple Street. Requesting backup. Suspect is in custody.
My name's John Mulligan, also known as Johnny Utah. Live in southeast Iowa now, and you know, looking back on it, growing up in central Kentucky, to me, my life was pretty much mapped out. I was gonna take over my dad's plumbing business, and on the weekends probably go check out a dirt track race on Friday and Saturday, and that was it. That's pretty much what I was gonna do. I got into law enforcement years ago, and you know, once I got into it, I fell in love with it. You know, there's so many different aspects that you're protecting a community, and there's people out there that you've never met. You don't know them from Adam, but your job is to go out and protect them. And then I transitioned into a narcotic unit, and that's kind of when things really took off. And in the town that I worked in northern Kentucky, drugs, you know, it was a big problem. So I felt like if I could eliminate a drug dealer off the streets, and that's one less person that's distributing. You know, you get into that job of law enforcement, and you just see a lot of negatives. You see the bad in people, even the good people that you deal with. It's because they're a victim, and you start to kind of question, like, how much evil is out there in the world, and you know, is there a way? Like, are you actually accomplishing anything? A lot of times guys, you know, in that career, they'll deal with the highs and the lows, and they'll find a way to maintain that high. And I knew that that was something that I was on that path, because you're trying to maintain that high, but you're also trying to distract yourself from the job. Alcoholism was something that ran in my family. I saw it firsthand growing up, and I knew that it was definitely not, you know, the path I wanted to go down. So I got into deer hunting. A buddy, he said, let's be deer hunters, and I didn't know anything about it. So I went to a public library and actually checked out books on how to be a deer hunter, and went out with a rifle, and I did that for a few years. It helped, but it still wasn't the thing. It still wasn't drawing me away or negating the things that, you know, I had seen, you know, on the road and things that I was dealing with. About 4 years ago, I ran into a little bit of financial hard times with a business that I sold, and things didn't go as planned, but I had $7 to my name, and I grabbed my bow. I came up to the bow shop. Nobody knew what I was going through on the inside, but I thought, man, I need to go clear my head. So it was kind of funny that I picked up a bow, and that's what I wanted to go do for that moment. But just come up, send some arrows, and just kind of think about things and figure out how I was going to get myself out of the jam that I put myself in. I was actually going to sit out bow hunting one year, and the guy that a buddy of mine, Joe, that owned this bow shop, he said, you need to pick up a bow. Well, I've got a young kid at home, and the last thing I need to do is to try to buy a bow. So he made a deal with me. He said, if you'll continue to hunt, I'm going to give you a free bow. And you know, right out of the gate, I don't want a handout, but he insisted that I take this bow. So I took it and went out that season And halfway through the season, I kind of wanted my rifle back because it was a lot tougher. Every time I stood up, I got busted. A couple years went by and shot my first doe with a bow, and then I was hooked completely. That's when the switch, like for a lot of us, that's when the switch goes off. You get into that bow hunting lifestyle, and it was 365 days a year. I found myself wanting to do nothing but focus on running trail cameras and food plots and scouting more and shed hunting and just shooting every chance I had, whether it was outside or inside. What I found for me was it took away from all those distractions. I was no longer drawn to, it was a way to balance everything else in life. And thankfully I found it, because like I said, there's so many people that I saw go down the wrong path. Suicide is still, the #1 killer, of cops. Bow hunting will always hold that special place to me. And because I'm always appreciative and thankful, for what it's been able to provide. So basically, this is my local Fort Madison gym. Whenever I'm in town, this is where I come every morning. Kind of kicks off the day, and definitely a firm believer in a strong body makes a strong mind. And with things that I've been through in life and continue to go through, this is where my energy comes from. It's where the inspiration comes from. And just always feel better, if you start the day with a workout and kind of feel like you've accomplished something right out of the gate. But the thing about the gym is a 45-pound plate weighs 45 pounds. Today, tomorrow, last year, next year. So for me, the gym has always been that balance for me. I can go in there, it's me against me, I push myself to failure, and then you have this sense of accomplishment immediately. You're better today than what you were yesterday. These are all lessons, and these are all things that I do in life to keep myself distracted and find hobbies and find outlets of creativity that take your mind off of past things and past traumas, whether it be from childhood or the career. And like I said, I picked up a bow and dove into it, and that was the only thing I focused on. Even in my personal life, I made sure that I maintained a lot of close friends that were not in law enforcement or not in military. And I would engage in conversations about what they were doing and what they were doing in their lives. And that stuff's huge, recognizing before it becomes a problem. And I got lucky. Not a lot of people, get as lucky. Just find that thing for you that is your thing, that you can put all of your your heart, mind, soul, passion into, and take it all the way.